My name is Ken.
Ken, how are you, man? Thanks so much for your patience. What's on your mind?
I'm fine. I wanted to call. I was trying to call you yesterday when you guys were talking about, Bernie and nuance in terms of, keeping the same platforms that he has, but also concentrating in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of segues to what goes on over here. So the first thing is, you were talking about, and I'm glad that you brought this out, but about the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment,
Mm-hmm.
and I think in regards to that, Section 4 of the Federal Review, that has just been totally annihilated by the Supreme Court and, definitely needs to be reinstated. In regards to, the bankruptcy, this is for Hillary Rodham Clinton. She voted in favor of it, made it very hard for people to declare bankruptcy,
Right.
and in effect made it much worse on, populations of color, minority groups.
Yeah.
What I was also going to say was, I looked at the private prisons, and I'm looking just in Georgia and Tennessee. I just have the statistics for Georgia. CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, I'm sure people know who that is.
Absolutely.
7 in Georgia. Geo Corporation, 3 in Georgia. Those are 10 private prisons. What do you think that they're locking up in those private prisons?
Yeah.
When we talk about in terms of, that, people, especially, Black and Latino, predominantly locked up. Also in addition to that is the, FBI Uniform Crime Statistics of 2014, and this is a sobering thought. 1 in 4 African-American males before the age of 18 will end up in some form of the criminal justice system.
Right.
And we can circle that back with the, with the Equal Rights Amendment and the type of, voting suppression act that happened that accounted for, 13%. This is just in Florida, 13% of the votes that weren't counted.
Mm-hmm.
This is during the Bush war times. So all of these, in addition to also the welfare, reform. I love the name reform, but reform. All these synergistically help destroy, minority communities and people, males, most of the generations where, they would have provided more for the community out there, but no, they're locked up. And
Absolutely.
One thing we also talked about yesterday was, and I don't know if you brought this up, but more people are locked up now than any person in the time of slavery. That's a sobering thought. That's a big deal. And people working for these private corporations are making, 25 cents an hour, 10 cents an hour?
Yep.
Making things like Victoria's Secret bra, you name it. Things that we take for granted. So I think that needs to be part of the narrative,
Mm-hmm.
going forward.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks so much for the call. I agree with you. Those things that are, I don't know. I agree with you, but I'm at a I don't know. I'm kind of at an impasse. Let me unmute my co-host. I'm at an impasse with the data, the facts, because we're at a point where in the Democratic Party, I feel like we're at a stage where the facts really don't matter as much. Molly and Portia, I'm going to unmute you guys too if you want to join the conversation. It's bothersome to me that we have the facts on the side of someone like Bernie Sanders, but we're dealing with a campaign or a group of people who are able to manipulate, smear, swift vote, and make this election not be about facts, but be about propaganda, in my opinion. So I'm open the floor to any of you. What do you guys think about all that data that he just shared and in the context of it not even making a difference at this point?
We've discussed this before, though, that we can't run a traditional campaign. We are up against a monstrosity, in terms of our Democratic opponents. Primary, there has been a consistent tactic used, whether it's now the painting James Sanders and others as racist or out of touch. Michael Moore was getting hit. I'm sure you saw my tweets earlier. Michael Moore was getting hit. So the facts, these terms, while it's true, it may be accurate, this is a perception game, unfortunately, for some people, and we have a concerted attack. And it's not even a campaign. It's not even official surrogates. It's so-called, black intellectuals, so-called black intelligentsia, so-called black journalists that are doing this enormous hit job. And we talk about black Twitter, right? And everybody acts like black Twitter is like this thing that informs, but it's taken a life on its own. And they run with this misinformation. They run with these narratives. Jane Sanders last night made a comment about how the Obama coalition was 2008, and at the end of this, we'll either see the Clinton coalition or the Sanders coalition. That was this whole big thing. Like, people don't see that there's a problem with the way things are going. So all the facts in the world are not going to do anything for those specific people. However, we do know that turnout is very low. Turnout is very low. Even amongst all the black voters who supposedly love Hillary Clinton, turnout is even low as compared to 2008 when they both ran before.
Yeah.
We have to directly engage and work with those voters, like undecided voters. There are plenty of voters who are just disengaged because everyone's like, oh, it's inevitable, she's going to win. Right, but that's turned a lot of people off, too. A lot of people don't feel like they have choices. A lot of people have heard some of the chatter about Bernie, and they don't know what to filter out. So the facts are good, and it's good that people have a mastery of the facts. But at the same time, no diss to anyone, but everyone who's just now catching up to speed about the prison-industrial complex, everyone that's just now learning about mass incarceration. Like, I had someone tell me, like, you need to talk about mass incarceration. Black people need to know. You don't think we know?
Talk about how long ago?
You don't think we know? I grew up with crack houses on my block. You think I don't know about? You don't think I know about police running up on us on a corner? Like, I know. Like, my brother benefited from being just a stone's throw away from being an Eagle Scout. Right? He was a Boy Scout. Grew up again. We've grown. I grew up in New York and in Chicago. My younger siblings grew up in New York and Atlanta. My brother had a pocket knife on him given to him by a scoutmaster in New York. This is a couple years ago. Had a pocket knife that he was given by a scoutmaster. It's good luck. He carries it everywhere. He lived in West Virginia when I was in law school. He's a lot younger. So he's a country boy at heart too. He got stop and frisk, New York City police, right? Because he looked like he was doing something, just walking down the block in Harlem. And the only reason why he got out of that, and in terms of dealing with the judge, because he very easily could have gone a bad way, was because he was a Boy Scout. And when the judge asked him, why would you even have this, son, if you weren't doing it? He's like, I'm a Boy Scout, sir. That little bit of respectability saved my brother. But if my brother didn't have that little anecdote to throw in there to kind of like, because you tell somebody you're a Boy Scout, you tell somebody you were almost Eagle Scout or you were working on your Eagle Scout project. I think he was working on his Eagle Scout project at the time. You tell somebody something like that, automatically it's a free get out of jail card. But most young black men, most young Latino men don't even have that to even share. They're automatically written off. Like my siblings, we've all been very blessed and lucky, but a lot of people are not. So the facts are good, the facts. But I always ask people, that's all well and good, and Hillary Clinton did this, and Bill Clinton did this. Have you read Bernie Sanders' racial justice plan? Do you even know what's in Bernie Sanders' racial justice plan? Because this is the problem. We talk about how negative and how bad the Clintons are, but do you all know, besides the fact that Bernie Sanders was arrested in 1962 and went to march in Washington in 1963, do you actually know?
No, we're gonna have. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have to get you fixed over there, and because you're on a roll. I can hear you now. I don't know if you want to try and finish.
The timing is suspicious for me because it's always the climax of her rant. I think Comcast is doing something. Comcast is not a progressive company. I think they're doing something.
They've been donating for a long time to. Well, anyway, go ahead and try it again.
But what I'll say is that we need to the facts, right? The facts. But this is a situation that our community, Latino community, people of color, poor people, we've been living in this state for decades now. Right. Now all of a sudden everybody wants to jump on like, oh my God, because we want Bernie elected. That's not really speaking to people. Part of the problem is that we've had politicians tell us they care about our issues for generations. Right? Yep. I mean, even as we're talking about the Voting Rights Act, right? The Voting Rights Act in the 60s should have resolved so many issues. And here we are. What has just happened in Alabama in last week about how people
I can't do it. I can't. No, you
gotta keep the camera off. Gotta keep the camera off.
Okay, I'll keep the camera off. Let's try that.
Camera off. But seriously though, so I understand it, I respect, and I'm so thankful that people are really digging in and understand the issue. I mean, there are several UN decrees and reports about how the United States violates international human rights law on a regular basis, whether it's the way our police interact with citizens, our prison system. I mean, there's so much out there. We want to police the world, and yet there are so many potential resolutions out there against us that it's unbelievable. But that's all well and good. A lot of us actually know that. There's been a long movement. There's a long movement. My stepfather is involved with organizations going back to the 80s that has dealt with the prison industrial complex. However, that is not necessarily going to move the needle in our favor right now when we're talking about doing increased outreach in black and brown communities. Right. What we need to be doing is And it's not that you have to educate people, because even if you think that this not actually use those words, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. Like, even if that's the actual, even if that's reality, you should not be saying that to people. How would you like it if somebody told you you were stupid? Even if you really are stupid.
No, I have to stop you because you broke up. It's like you were giving us the key to life, and then you broke up on the most important part. You ever seen one of the movies where they say,
I hate Comcast. Comcast does this to me on purpose.
No matter what, don't do, and then you broke up.
My internet is perfect all day long. My internet is perfect all day long.
What words should they never say? I have an idea, but it broke up. What words should they never say when they're trying to communicate and do outreach to African American?
Never tell people, never start off with, well, you're low information voters. Don't say stuff like that to people.
Yeah.
Don't say anything that's negative or derogatory or can be taken the wrong way. Seriously, okay, Bernie is best because, or you should support Bernie because. You're not going to win people over going negative. You're not going to win people over saying that African Americans don't show up and vote anyway. That type of dismissiveness is exactly
it's fueling their pride. Okay, no, I can't take it anymore because you're saying so many brilliant things, but Comcast is really trolling you on a whole new level. Someone in the chat room, Noah, said, "Can we get a fundraiser going for Noah's equipment?" She actually, we have some upgrades coming, but we need to get an upgrade to your internet connection. So that's the next thing we're going to work on, and actually I'm going to do it on my side too. Let me swing it. Let's let your internet rest for a second, let it relax, and let me swing it over to. I don't even know what the original question was. All I do know is that it's a great conversation happening. So
if I could interject,
please do.
If I could interject, as I recall, we were talking about messaging and how we deal with facts. Molly mentioned earlier in our Women for Bernie meetups that we will be addressing different ways. One of the most powerful, absolutely most powerful thing that everybody can do is write a letter to their editor. That is at the absolute core of the grassroots level, and we really, really need to do that. Anybody can do it. Anybody can tell their story and say why I support Bernie. I just encourage folks to get over to our website and join up, even if you don't want to host. Molly's come up with this wonderful idea of providing a virtual meetup.
Mm-hmm.
Those letters to the editor, I worked very hard on President Obama's 2008 campaign and 12, and that was one of the most powerful ways to get to those folks, in particularly who are not on the internet. And all they get is 4, 6, and 10 mainstream media. This gets out to grandma out in the county, down in the holler, where she's going to read that paper. Every time they pick up the paper, they go to the obituaries. They go to the letters to the editor, and they look at the ads. This is the way to resonate at the grassroots level, and particularly in these rural counties. Please consider it, folks. Writing a letter to the editor is just like writing to your grandma or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You're just telling them why you support Bernie. And it really does make a difference.
You know what? That's such a great point, because there's so many of us that have so many articles that we've written, and we've always kept them online. And I think, Solomon, between you and I, we probably have at least 20 articles that we could just take offline right now and just convert them to and send them to our local papers and have them shared. So I would say that anyone who has written, and if you haven't, you can always write something new. But I think most of us have a library of stuff that we can just pull from and send in the morning as letters to our editors. So,
and the thing is, if I could tell you, you don't even have to put them in an envelope and put a stamp on it. All you have to do is just go to your local newspaper. Almost every single one of even the little tiny ones here around in Ross County and Pike County that put out a paper maybe twice a week. They have their little rules. Some of them will only take 150 words. You get it down to that, and you can just email it right there. You don't even have to go to your mailbox to get it done. It's very powerful.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to do also if you're burned out of phone banking, because that happens. And just it's a way to reach people where they want to be reached, because they're just reading something that they want to read. So definitely encourage it.
And if you have examples of like little templates that can help guide folks if you're a little bit worried about it?
On our website, yeah, on womenforbernie.us, we have a couple of templates and stuff, so that's something to check out. It's also a great thing to kind of brainstorm with other people about what you're going to say, because you might not have a lot of insight on your own, but it's something we're suggesting at these meetups, that people just chat and brainstorm together.
And you only have to write a paragraph. I mean, it doesn't have to be a thesis. It's just about who you are and why you're going to go vote for Bernie. And your neighbors read it, and it'll matter to them.
What is your site URL again? Is it womenforbernie.us?
Yeah, number 4.
Women, the number 4, Bernie.us. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so folks, go check that out. Solomon, you're on deck. What's on your mind?